Hi everyone, before we get into this video, I just wanted to tell you that today's video is sponsored by Car, and they make these amazing massage guns that you can use on your sore body, which is awesome as an equestrian because I have a lot of sore muscles and joints, especially when I'm riding lots of horses or galloping the race horses. So it's been super fun to test out the massage gun for them and be able to use it on my back and legs and muscles when I'm sore. So I just wanted to do a shout out to Car and show you the cool massage gun that they have and how awesome it is and how well it works. So this massage gun is super cool. It comes with 6 different massage heads that you can use on different parts of your body when you're trying to accomplish different things and target specific muscle groups. So it gives you a lot of variety to make sure that whatever you're using is comfortable and happy for where you're massaging. And there's lots of options. It's a lot of fun. I've gotten to use so many different of the massage heads when I'm using the gun on myself. For me, my back is usually my most sore part, my neck and my back. So I use a lot of the air-filled head on my back or along my neck and the top of my shoulders, which is where I typically have the most soreness. But there's lots of other massage heads that will work for whatever you're trying to target, and they have awesome instructions showing you where to use them and what their purpose is. And it's super easy to switch out the massage head as well. The massage gun is super quiet and it only goes up to about 42 decibels, so it's not annoying or particularly loud, which is really nice, especially if you're using it at night when people might be sleeping. And the other cool thing is that it has up to 30 different levels, so you can really control how hard you're being massaged and the frequency at which the gun is pumping the head of the massager. Has a 180-degree rotating arm, so it's super easy to get into different places of your body, and also the battery life is super long lasting and it's an ergonomic design, so it's easy to hold and easy to use. It's super awesome. I highly recommend. This was Sangria's second ride under saddle, so I got on her and she'd already had everything done prior to that with being saddled and the groundwork to prepare her for having her rider on, and then Janae did her first ride before we got her. So this is just her second time with a rider on, and what we're doing here is just walking her around and letting her look at everything, and I have her in a rope halter because I start all of my horses bitless. I find that it's less confusing for them and it's very easy to transfer over the cues from bitless to bitted. So I just like to start off with the easiest, least amount of stress possible for the youngsters. And she's never been in this arena either, so she was looking around quite a lot, which is why we walked her around several times and just give her a chance to kind of take everything in and get used to it and get used to the feel of a rider on her. And yeah, so it's all really boring, and in all honesty, starting horses under saddle should be boring if it's being done properly, because you don't want the big Wild West reactions that we typically see in film. And those reactions are all avoidable and they're dangerous for both horse and rider. So it's something you really want to avoid in preparing the horse properly and making sure that they're as low stress as possible. It is normal for horses to have moments where they might spook or where you might have missed something and they have a reaction, but you just don't want that big explosive reaction. So doing the really easy, boring stuff is important. Sangria is still working on her groundwork as well. So she's quite a looky-loo, which you can see her looking around a lot. So it's good for her to just walk with a person at her head and get used to a rider on her in a position where she's used to having herself when she's during groundwork. She's very used to having a rider at her head. So it just kind of normalizes the whole experience for her. Sangria is turning 4 in June, so she's just about 4. This was taken a few weeks ago, so this was in May, at the end of May, when she's a 3-year-old, so she had a lot of time to spend growing up, and she's also filled out a lot since this video was taken. She was a little bit on the lighter side in this, and she's put on some weight, which is really good. So we just walked her in hand both directions, and realistically, this ride was quite short. Like, I probably wasn't on her for more than 12 to 15 minutes. First rides don't need to be long for the horses to learn something, and it's always better to get off and have a positive experience than to try to keep pushing for more if they're being good. So it was really quite easy and simple, just walking her around both directions with Janae at her head, and then we eventually put her out onto a lunge circle. Prior to this, I had also been lunging her a little bit in the arena before getting on. I always lunge my youngsters in tack before I get on them, just to make sure that they're not going to have any ill reaction to the tack and just for safety purposes, especially if I've not worked with the horse before and I want to make sure that they're in a situation where they can safely be mounted and start to do things. So with her, her, that's what we did. I did a light lunge. The purpose isn't to make them tired, it's just to make sure that they're happy and snappy and not going to have a bad reaction. Sangria at this point has already been taught how to lunge, so this isn't something new to her. And if I had a round pen available, I typically don't even have them on a line and I'll just get on them in a round pen. But we don't currently have a round pen up right away, so we have to do it this way, which is a little harder for the horse. And in terms of riding the horse around in an arena, obviously it's safer to have them in a smaller space. So for this, it was a little unorthodox, but it's safer to have her on a line and lunging like she's used to, especially when she's learning all of the forward cues for riding. And as you can see, she's a little bit tense and uncertain, especially for the first few steps of trot. This is her very first trot under saddle. I'm sitting the trot, and I do this initially so that they can kind of hear how I move in the tack, and it also keeps me safer if they were to scoot or do anything like that. And then I start posting because it's a different motion. So the sitting kind of gets them used to having me on them, and then when I start posting, it's less of a shock to them when my body's suddenly moving differently. So I just do a few steps of trot and kind of go around for as long as she's willing to. And then if the horse ever sucks back or goes back to walk, it's no big deal. You just walk a few steps and you can ask them to go forward to trot again. The point is to just keep it really simple and easy for them so that they're not super stressed. And she was tense for this part because this was her first time in this arena and also her first trot under saddle. But overall, she was quite good. She found the leg aids to be a little bit aversive, even though she had worked on the pressure and release of moving off pressure along her rib cage and where a leg would go under saddle. But she didn't love it under saddle, so that's definitely something to work on as well. She was great for the short amount of trot, so I didn't trot the other way, and we kind of just left it at that since she was good, and you can always work on more the next time, so there's no reason to push them too much, especially when you have a good go of things the first time. So that was her second ride. She's done a lot of groundwork since then, but no one's been on her since then because we've just gotten busy. So for the next ride, we're going to be basically doing another restart and building on everything that she was a little insecure with on the ground first, and then getting back on. This was just a nice test to kind of see where she was at.